Fed is letting people know the new financial system is coming, whether people like it or not. There's nothing that can stop it. All you have to do, if you really want to know what they're planning, is listen to Fed Governor Waller, Christopher Waller. Listen, he did another video. We're going to jump around to some key points in this video. Listen to what he's telling you. So this video is titled Fed Governor Waller Delivers Remarks on Decentralized Finance. Now, we're going to start at the 11-minute. Scroll to the 11-minute and 23-second mark, because I want you to see something that he does. Now, keep poker in mind. When someone has something that they're holding back, when someone has something and it's a little bit deeper than what it appears, they usually have something called a tell. Watch this little thing that he does here when he gets to this little part. Listen to this.
Trade assets without giving up control of those assets. You don't need custody arrangements. And that's a critical distinction from centralized finance.
Why did he just cough right there? I know some people are like, oh, Mick, he just coughed. His throat was dry. He coughed right before. Like it's a nervous tick. Some people, tap their fingers. Some people scrunch up their face. Some people get all tense in the shoulders. It indicates something. 98% communication is nonverbal. You have to pay attention to these things. It doesn't matter if you're playing poker. It doesn't matter if you're in a business negotiation. You know how much leverage you can get if you can read body language. Now, where did he cough? He coughed right before he said, that's a distinction between DeFi and centralized finance. He was talking about the advantages of DeFi. He didn't want to do that. So the nervousness in him by talking about how dominant DeFi is, blockchain, tokenization, because that's what this is all about. That nervousness is what caused him to do that. Now, you're going to see things like that throughout this video. We're not going to watch the entire video. You can do that on your own. But it tells us what? It tells us how dominant that they believe DeFi can be. And even though now they're trying to condition the minds of the people to get ready for the new financial system in the US. And my guess is, just a guess, not financial advice, folks. My guess is when the Ripple case is over, Ripple will lead the rush. They won't be the only ones to dominate in the US, but they will lead. XRP will lead. And a lot of other companies, a lot of other utility coin companies will follow. That's what I think is going to occur. Why do I say that? Because the Fed clearly does not want the legacy system to lead. They don't want to be the blame if something goes wrong. They don't want to draw the ire of the people who don't want CBDCs. The people, they don't like CBDCs. They don't want the government having that much power or looking into their information. So they don't want that. The go around to get, to circumvent that, they can let the private sector lead. Remember, the private sector can be controlled. Look at the legacy system aspect of the private sector. They're completely controlled right now. They're so intertwined with the government. How can you tell one from the other? To the point where most people just acknowledge that most governments they're just companies at this point. That's why that was important. But wait, there's more. Wait, let's keep going. Let's push play.
That would lead me to think of them as a substitute for centralized finance. However, there are other uses emerging from these technologies that look to me more like complements to
He's trying to allay. See, now here he's not talking to the regular people. Here, this is the Fed governor talking to a lot of powerful entities, right? He's trying to lessen the fear that DeFi is just going to take over. That's why he's saying it's more of a compliment to centralized finance. The whole while, this entire video, he's talking about how dominant DLT technology is. If you listen to what he's saying, literally, he's telling you what I've been saying, where we don't need them, they need us. They don't enhance us. He's saying that in this entire video. Throughout this video. They don't enhance us. They don't do anything for us. But we do everything for them. They're trying to catch up. They need everything that we provide. Okay, now let's keep going. Let's get deep. Let's keep going now.
Centralized finance. For example, distributed ledger technology is just a technology. And it may be efficient and faster to do record keeping in a 24/7 world using a DLT, or distributed ledger technology.
Faster and more efficient. So already he's dropping an aspect on you. We're far superior to them in. Let's keep going.
We already see several major standard financial institutions experimenting with DLT for traditional repo trading of U.S. Treasuries.
He's admitting what's coming. He's admitting how dominant we are. Several large institutions working with DLT, as well the Fed. The Fed has never stopped testing. Meanwhile, there's been a massive campaign, pay attention to this, massive campaign to drive retail away from crypto. And that goes from top to bottom, from the mainstream news media to your so-called independent bloggers. That money talks and that money goes around and people will do anything for a few dollars. And there's a lot of money that goes around behind the scenes. There's been a massive campaign while they position themselves. You can't get around the native tokens. You can't. You have to have, let's say XRPL, you have to have native tokens to have an account. Then on top of that, the native tokens, you think they don't know? Like Ripple tells you, like the XRPL.org tells you that XRP is the fastest, the best, the most efficient, that there's certain mechanisms you can only use XRP with, which then nullifies or negates anything that stablecoins could do. Then if you look at what stablecoins are capable of, that are getting praised for some reason, look at, they always point you this way when they're going to go that way. Just know that. So if they're praising stablecoins, but then you look at the actual data on how advanced something like XRP is over a stablecoin or XLM or Algorand or Quant or Flare or XDC, we could go on and on. Solana, Chainlink are superior over the stablecoins. Then you say to yourself, well, any wise person, any intellectual person would say, why would I only use the stablecoins, or why would I go with that when I could use something that's better? Something better is right there. And there's huge allotments of it for the taking, especially because retail has been chased away. So it'll be that much easier by the time when the future comes to gobble up a chunk of it and keep that inside closed ecosystems. Remember, what did Ripple say earlier this year? They clarified for people. They said XRP is for the banks, period. We read it. It was designed for large financial institutions. Some people screenshotted it. Some people have those articles. This is what they said. And I was happy when they said it. So now, wait, let's keep going. There's more.
And that trading occurs now with DeFi or these frameworks 24/7, as opposed to an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday time schedule.
Wait, we're going to stop right there. Let's jump ahead to 13 minutes and 34 seconds. Let's go there. All right, 13 minutes and 34. I'm going to go just a little bit before that, just a little bit.
Expand to a broad set of financial activities. The bottom line is that things like DLT, tokenization, and smart contracts are just technologies for trading that can be used in DeFi.
See how he's trying to undermine it, but look at his tone when he said it. He got like this little hint of aggressiveness to it. Like when you say something you know you don't mean, you don't really want to say it because you know it's not true. So you have to force it out. Listen to it again. I'm telling you, folks. You got to read. 98% communication is nonverbal. I think that's what they used to say. I think that's what it is. Look it up. Most communication is nonverbal. You better learn how to speak then. If you're not looking at the nonverbals, you better learn how to speak that language. But listen to this. Wait, watch them force it out. Listen.
Not pay if the seller does not deliver. Now, while these efforts are still in the early stages, the functionality could expand to a broad set of financial activities. The bottom line is that things like DLT, tokenization, and smart contracts.
He knows how dominant they are. He's being forced right now to come forward because it's time. He may not be in agreement with it that it's time. I'm not sure. But for some reason, he had to force that out. He does not want to build DLT up so much that the people begin to realize that DLT is explosive, right? Number one, it does not need the legacy system. Number two, and he doesn't want to get the people bullish on it. Because if the people are bullish on it, they're going to look deeper into which ones actually have a connection with the Fed. I don't know. I mean, Ripple on the Faster Payments Task Force. Who started that? Ripple on the Faster Payments Council. Who started that? Who's involved with those things right there? Algorand working with Maiden Labs and Maiden Labs working with MIT and MIT doing research for who? Who are they doing research for? Shh. See, they keep it real quiet. I mean, you could disagree with everything that I say. This is just my humble opinion. This is what I've been researching. This is my viewpoint. Doesn't have to be yours. All right. I want to make that clear. Now let's keep going. Let them tell.
Technologies for trading that can be used in DeFi or can also improve the efficiency in centralized finance.
See, it can also improve the efficiency in centralized finance. Congealing. He's conditioning, as opposed to before. They're like, oh, DLT is dangerous. Oh, DLT could be used by bad actors, illicit activities. Now, oh, it could be used to enhance centralized finance. It's conditioning, folks. Take them in one way early on so you can get in position. Take them away from the gold. Point them towards silver over there. There's something shiny over there. And all the people walk over that way. Meanwhile, you dig that gold up out of the ground. Then when you have your fill, you have enough gold, you have enough of the technology, whatever valuable, you have enough of that. Then you say, hey, guys, come over here. Now you figured out, you've dominated it, and you figured out how to monetize it. You figured out how to exact control out of this. Now you bring the people back because as they partake, you're in control of how they partake. That's what's about to happen over the next few years. I don't know the timeline. I just know when, it just seems to me that when the United States rolls this out, it's going to hit hard. Anything that's involved, right? Any of these utility coins that are involved stand the chance of exploding beyond belief because of this type of activity. All of the large companies, I said this before, all the companies that reach the top and they're the peak of what the technology is. They're at the peak of that technology. They all land government contracts. My apologies for not being eloquent, but I think you get the idea. They land government contracts. They work with the government. Why do you think that all of these Bankcoin companies have been, trying to rub shoulders with the United States government all these years, despite the regulators going against them? That's because they know how this works. They got in early. They built everything up. They're well in advance of everyone else. So they know it's just a matter of time. This is all like a game to them. It's just a chessboard to them. Let's keep going. I have one more.
That's why I see them as complements. Now, stable coins are another important innovation.
He sees them as complements, which means at some point he sees the DLT technology congealing fully with the legacy system. That's the new financial system. So he sees a future where there's a new financial system. What do you think that means? He also said that a major country, which part of the BRICS nation, really, although they have a little bit of problems within the BRICS nation as far as India and China, etc. They're both massive powers. They don't agree on everything, which is why that will just remain a very loose economic partnership over there. But if you understand the tension that has been there for countless decades, but he said they should wait on the private sector. He didn't say use Fed now. He didn't say wait on the U.S. government to provide a better system. He didn't say any of that. He didn't say wait on SWIFT. He said wait on the private sector. And then he talked about fintechs, DLT technology, tokenization, just like the BIS, saying the same thing. They're all on one accord. Wait, let's go here. All right, so now we're getting a little deep into the video. Wait, let's scroll to 17 minutes and 6 seconds. Let's go there. 17 minutes is the last one. Then we're going to get on to some regular articles, okay? But we can go deeper with this video. We definitely could. Let's go.
Long-term sustainability is merited. So where does that leave us? Ultimately, I believe that advances in technology have the potential to drive efficiency gains in finance, just as technological innovation has done for centuries.
Say that again. See, he's saying it in ways that will fly over most people's heads. Listen to it one more time.
Disruption and long-term sustainability is merited. So where does that leave us? Ultimately, I believe that advances in technology have the potential to drive efficiency gains in finance.
Advances in technology. And he's talking about private sector advances in technology. He said that they should wait for the private sector. BIS said they should wait for the private sector. If the central banks can be enhanced by this, then clearly the technology is superior. Now, if that technology congeals with the legacy system financial aspect, and they're moving trillions of dollars per day, they're moving quadrillions of dollars per year, where do you think that price is going to go on anything involved? Whether it's XRP, quant, etc., where do you think that price is going to go? If they serve their purpose, if Christopher Waller has his way and the legacy system leads. And let's be clear about this. You see how now you're seeing all these articles about how now that BRICS Nation has announced BRICS Pay, which I think that iteration of BRICS Pay is very minor. Look at who's pushing it, who's the major pusher of that iteration of it. They have a few more. They just wanted to get that out early to show that they're not all talk, in my humble opinion. But that's putting pressure on the West, according to article writers. It's causing more fragmentation, according to article writers, so-called pros. Now, if that is the case, don't forget the myriad of articles that have come out the last few days about how the BRICS payment system and just pretty much their whole de-dollarization scheme is weakening the reach of SWIFT. Haven't I been saying that for a long time? Right. So the truth, almost knocked down my light. Sorry about that, folks. My apologies. So the truth, in my humble opinion, this is truth to me, is beginning to come out. How many people will hear something like this? Let's keep going just a little bit more.
Just as technological innovation has done for centuries. Well, there are certain services emerging through DeFi that cannot be provided by centralized finance. The technological innovations.
Wait, what was that, sir? No. No, don't you speed through that part. You took your time everywhere else. Wait a minute. We're at 17 minutes and 28 seconds. Let's just go back just a little bit to 17:21. Let's let that play again.
Certain services emerging through DeFi that cannot be provided by centralized finance.
So service, we're so dominant, so in advance that we provide services that centralized finance just can't do. Not to mention that there's something he cut out. Did you notice something he cut out in this video he didn't talk about? They talked about intermediaries and how intermediaries are always going to be necessary. But here's the problem with that. If your central bank digital currency systems, which the majority of them, this is the problem they're having right now, and we know this because we've read multitude of documents, and the most potent one was the one from China, where the intermediaries are not making any money. You think they're going to work for less or for free? Absolutely not. No, I'm not saying that they're not going to make anything, but they're making so little that it doesn't compare or doesn't incentivize them to leave the legacy system. Now, what the private sector brings to the table is the ability for intermediaries, not just to be cut out, not really be cut out, but be transformed and continue to not only make capital, but make more capital than they've ever made before. But whatever you know as an intermediary today will be different tomorrow, for lack of a better word. It'll be different in the future. Now, that's across the board for everybody, from the retail investors to the central banks to any intermediaries that remain, that don't transform, and they just want to remain in that position. Across the board, it looks like massive amounts of value can be made. That's what it looks like right now. If it changes, I would say that, believe me. So now, because let me tell you something, there's people that want to view news on both sides, whether it's good news or bad news. There's viewers there for it. But right now, things are looking very good. So now let's continue on here.
The technological innovations stemming from DeFi are largely complementary to centralized finance. They have the potential to improve centralized.
Look how he keeps pushing that. It's conditioning. Repetition is the mother of learning. Throughout this video, he continues to say it's complementary. I see it as complementary. He's trying to ease it in there because for so long, a lot of the mainstream media and the governmental officials have been against distributed ledger technology, tokenization. Right. I didn't cover all of this video. He goes deeper into other things here. Make sure you watch this on your own. You watch the entire video, make your own interpretation. OK, but something big is coming now. I'm going to stop right there for now. We may come back to this video a little bit later, but look at this. I want to give you a little bit of Solana news, Bitcoin news, I have some XRP news as well, but I feel like that first, just going through that video, I feel like that applies heavily to XRP, Ripple, Stellar, Algorand, any of these companies that have an opportunity to run wild in the US in the next year, especially after that Ripple case is I think is going to clarify a lot of things once and for all. Then what's stopping XRP from going absolutely nuts when the banks, who Ripple said, their representative said that the banks want XRP. They said they believe the banks will want XRP, and they said they're going after the commercial banks. I mean, I could go deeper into that, but what's stopping a massive run when everything is ready? When all of this battle is over? All right, so now I'll cover just a little bit of XRP news. Top Ripple lawyer predicts outcome of SEC appeal. Stuart Alderati, chief legal officer at San Francisco headquartered enterprise blockchain firm Ripple, is convinced that the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit will either affirm the ruling issued by Judge Annalisa Torres or end up expanding it. I can't wait. I can't wait. Our time has come now. I'm going to move on from there because I want to get to a little bit of Solana news here. Look at this. 400% fund flow spike triggers Solana ETF buzz. It says Solana, a popular alternative cryptocurrency and arguably one of the most hyped digital assets of the year, alongside Bitcoin, saw a big spike in fund flows into ETPs based on the altcoin last week. According to the latest report from CoinShares investment products that allow exposure to the SOL token, saw a 400% increase over the course of the week, totaling $2.4 million. The gain adds to the total inflows into Solana ETPs, which have reached $58 million year to date. This is far less than its two main counterparts, Bitcoin and Ethereum, but still more than any other altcoin. All right, let's get to a little bit of Bitcoin news. Let's see what we have here today. All right, so Bitcoin hash rate hits all-time high, boosting network security. The increasing Bitcoin hash rate and block reward reduction from the Bitcoin halving may lead to minor consolidation among smaller firms. The Bitcoin hash rate has reached a new all-time high, showcasing the growing security of the world's first blockchain network. The Bitcoin network hash rate, the total computing power securing the Bitcoin network, reached an all-time high of 769.8 exahashes per second on October the 21st. The hash rate has been in a steady uptrend since 2021. BitInfo charts data shows the hash rate's escalation is widely correlated with the developments in mining hardware, like application-specific integrated circuits, ASICs. All right, so that's really good. What's going on with Bitcoin? Let's hope it stays positive. And Bitcoin's future continues to be very bright, in my humble opinion. So now let's end off here with just a little bit of gold news. Now, this article is titled, "Why the West Should Be Paying More Attention to the Gold Price Rise." It says, I think that the West is. I do. I mean, as far as the United States, at least. You have a lot of new content creators talking about gold and silver. You have a lot of, large stores like, was it Costco, Walmart, selling gold, silver, and now one of them, I can't remember which, is maybe selling some platinum bars. So I do think the parts of the West are waking up and paying attention to gold. I do. It says buying of the precious metals reflects rising interest in alternatives to the dollar-based financial system. I also think a lot of people, independently, not because they were prompted at all, but I think from what they're seeing, they're worried about and concerned about the US dollar. Right. So they're trying to protect their value as well. It says something strange has happened to the price of gold over the past year, and setting one record level after another, it seems to have decoupled from its traditional historical influencers, such as interest rates, inflation, and the dollar. Moreover, the consistency of its rise stands in contrast to fluctuations and pivotal geopolitical situations. Gold's, quote, all-weather, unquote, characteristic signals something that goes beyond economics, politics, and higher frequency geopolitical developments. It captures an increasingly persistent behavioral trend among China and, quote, middle power countries, as well as others. and it is a trend that the West should be paying greater attention to. It says over the past 12 months, the price of an ounce of gold on international markets has increased from $1,947 to $2,715, a gain of almost 40%. We called it way back then. We said gold was going to explode. Of course, not financial advice. I think in the future, there's all the catalyst for it to go higher. Silver as well. Interestingly, this march up in price has been relatively linear, with any pullback attracting more buyers. Yes, because the people see the geopolitical tension, one, and two, there's actually, and it's very interesting, the banking news, the bad banking news has been making a little bit of waves in the mainstream. Not much, but enough for people to hear it. And then I think a lot of word of mouth and people telling each other, hey, listen, there's a problem with the banks. And so they're protecting their value now. Now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I'm bullish on gold long into the future. Just like with the bank coins, I'm bullish long into the future. Now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.